Good morning, Bumblebees, and happy Thursday. Hope everybody had a really lovely half term. So we're going to begin our maths today by looking at partitioning numbers into tens and ones. So we've got a variety of different numbers on the board here, and we're going to look at what happens if we were to partition them into their tens and their ones. Now, we are really good at using our tens and ones jottings, so we're going to transfer that knowledge into partitioning with these numbers. So we'll start with this number here. This number here is the number 25, and we are going to partition it into tens and ones. Okay, so that means we need to split our number into how many tens have we got? So we've got two tens, and the value of those two tens is actually 20, because if I was to draw my two tens, I would have 10, 20. And then the value of my ones is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then to partition my number, I would end up with 20 and 5. That is how we go about partitioning. So let's have a go with 46. So here we've got the number 46. So we know that we have got 4 tens. So we draw our 4 tens. 40, and our 6 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to partition 46, we're going to split it into tens and ones. So I have got 4 tens, which the value of 4 tens is 40, and I have got 6 ones. So that is my number partitioned. So pause the video now and have a really good go at working out each of these numbers and their partitioning, and we will come back and have a look at the answers. Welcome back, Bumblebees. Hope you did okay with that. So you can see on here that I have partitioned my numbers into tens and ones. So each of those numbers has been partitioned and split. So we practiced 25 and 46 together. So for 94, you should have 90 and 4. For 71, you should have 70 and 1. For 18, you should have 10 and 8. I thought this one might throw you, but I think everybody has done a really good job. So it's 110, which is 10, and 8 ones, which is just 8. Then 20, again, this is a different number because there's no numbers in the unit column at all. So we've 2 tens, which is 20, and 0 ones. Here with 73, we've got 7 tens, which is 70, and 3 units. And finally, 14, we've got 1 10 and 4 units. So well done. So for the remainder of this first part of the lesson, I would like you to get out your dice, and you are going to make or generate some numbers. So make sure you have got 2 dice, and you are going to roll those 2 dice and create a number. So here I have got the number 44, and I am going to then partition that number 44 into tens and ones. If you are in year 2, you can choose 3 dice. So this time I'm going to roll my 3 dice, and I have ended up with the number 462. So in this case, I would need to partition my number into 400, 60, and 2 to show the 3 parts of my number. So have a really good go making your numbers with your dice, and then we will move on later on in the lesson. Well done, everyone. So for the next part of our lesson, we're going to move on this week looking at measures. So we're going to spend some time to compare and describe lengths and heights, and then we're going to measure lengths and heights around your house using centimetres and metres. So just before we move on, let's have a look at some vocabulary that might be really useful this week whilst we are working on measures and lengths. So we've got quite a number of different words on here. So let's go through them. So we've got an M here, which is one of our units of measure, along with cm or and there. They are all our lengths that we measure in. So the stands for meters. The cm here stands for centimeters. And the km here stands for kilometers. So we'll pop all of those on because they're extra words that we have learnt. So cm is centimetres, km is kilometres, so that's a long distance, and m is the middle of the distances, which is metres. Then we've got longer and short, or shorter and long. So they are words that we can use to describe them. Then we've got width, length, and height. If I move height over here, if we're looking at the width or the length or the height of something, the height might be how tall you are, the length and the width are how wide or how long an object is. And then we've got the different sizes of the objects, and then later on, in fact tomorrow, you are going to use this symbol, and this symbol to compare. So actually all of those pieces of vocabulary go together because we are comparing. So well done. Let's hope that we have got lots of use of this language throughout the week. So we're going to learn how to use a ruler this morning because we're going to need to use a ruler in our lessons today. So have a little listen and see if you can remember how to use a ruler effectively to measure a line or an object. So step one, we need to place the object, whatever it is that we are measuring. So in this case, it's a pair of scissors, on the 0 centimetre mark on the ruler. Now, if you remember from when we've done this before, our rulers have a little bit of an overhang here. They don't start on the edge on 0. We need to move it in slightly onto 0. Make sure you're using the centimetre scale, not the other scale that would be on there, which would be inches more likely on your ruler. So make sure we're using the cm for centimetres. Then you're going to place your object, so whether it's a pair of scissors or it's a paper clip or anything that you've chosen around your house, you're going to find the length of it. So you've got to, first of all, where the arrow is, place the end of the object here on 0, which is what we have done here. And then we lay the object along the ruler. Now you can see here, this ruler has inches on it, and inches are much, much bigger than centimetres. So make sure you are using the correct unit in centimetres. Then place your object on, and then you look to the end of your object to see where your object falls on the ruler. So you can see this paper clip is just short of 6 centimetres because it's just a little bit in. So the nearest number to it would be 6 centimetres. And to write the length of it, we would write 6, and then we'd use the unit cm to show we've measured it in centimetres. Count the number of intervals after the whole number to find the length of the object to the nearest millimetre. So we are not worrying about these little lines in here. We're just going to go for the biggest number here. So this one will be 6, as we've just said from the previous slide. So let's have a look at these objects here. So you can see my little overhang here, where actually that ruler is just a piece of plastic. It doesn't mean anything. We need to move the object along so that it is in line with our 0. My pencil starts on 0 and I go all the way along to the end of my ruler, and then I can see my ruler is 7 centimetres long because it is closest to the 7 number than it is the 8 number on my ruler. And likewise for the pen here, so we're starting at 0, okay, so it's touching the 0 line, we read all the way along. Now it's gone over 8 but it hasn't quite reached 9. The number in the middle of 8 and 9 is 8.5, or you could say it's 8 or 9 if we were rounding to the nearest one. So that is how you measure using a ruler. So in today's lesson, I would like you to have a look around your house for some objects that you can measure with a ruler. Now don't panic if you haven't got a ruler, because maybe somebody in your house might have a tape measure, whether that's a cloth tape measure that you use for sewing, or a metal tape measure that you might use for doing DIY around the house. So see if someone has something that you could measure with. Make sure you are measuring in centimetres, and then all we are going to do in our books is measure the object and write the total. So if I was to measure my cup of tea, for example, which is sat next to me, so I've got a cup of tea and I'm going to measure the height of my cup of tea, and it's 15 centimetres tall. So that's what I would write in my book. Then if I was to measure my reading book, oh, apologies, it's just, oh, I've lost everything. If I was to measure my reading book, I would measure it at 30 centimetres, for example, and I would then put that into my maths book underneath. So have a really good go and see how you get on at choosing lots of different objects from around your house. Just remember, you need to stay safe whilst you are doing it. Measure the length and the height using centimetres, or if it goes over 100 centimetres, like for example the length of my desk, then we might want to write it in metres. So if we are going for the length of my desk that I am sat at now, then I would measure it using my tape measure or my ruler, but it might come to 1 metre and 37 centimetres. So if that is the case, just write it as I have here. So the length of my desk is 1 metre and 37 centimetres, and you can write your measurements like that. So have some fun, send through what you have been measuring. If you want an adult to take a photo of you whilst you are measuring around your house, you can do and send that through as well. It would be lovely to see you doing some great work. Take care everyone, I will see you soon.